And you find, whether you're looking at religions or whether you're looking at ancient cultures, you'll find there is this agreement. This reality, this world we call human, is manipulated from the unseen. These are the pantheons of gods, like the Greek gods and all these other gods that people worship but can't see. According to mainstream science, the electromagnetic spectrum, which is basically our reality, is 0.005% of what exists in energy in all its forms in the universe. Visible light, which is the only band of frequency we could see, is a smear, a fraction of the 0.005%. So we are basically blind, right? When something is operating outside of visible light, say it's a UFO or an entity, when it enters visible light, to the observer, it's come out of nowhere. It hasn't, but it's come into your visual reality out of nowhere. And when it leaves, it's gone out of your visual reality. I started looking at this and doing all the ancient cultures and the religions, and you find this theme of a non-human force with negative intent on humanity that is manipulating our world from the unseen. So if you look at Christianity, they have the devil and Satan. That's their name for this force collectively, and they talk about demons. Then you look at the Gnostic belief system, are describing a non-human force manipulating humanity from the hidden, which they call archons, which in Greek means rulers. See why they called them that. Then I talked to the great Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa in South Africa, who describes their legends and accounts of a non-human force manipulating human society, which they say took a reptilian form. And all around the world, you pick up this same theme.
Welcome to my 10-plus part series on David Icke Decoded with the Bible. Remember, each video is building a foundation and they build upon one another. And that critical understanding from each video is important for the next video. The reason why, as David Icke says, societies, cultures, and religions agree that the world is being manipulated by otherworldly forces or spirits, but have different names for these forces or gods, is because the world was once one pagan nation named Babylon, before the Father scattered the people into different parts of the earth and changed their languages. That's why you see all these similarities, especially between religions and also societies, about like good and evil and these spirits and whatnot manipulating humanity. To illustrate this point, let's go to Genesis and take a look at Babylon and Abraham. So let's start at Genesis chapter 11 here, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. It was one cohesive nation speaking one language. Jumping down to verses 4 through 9. And they said, which is the people of Babylon, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yah came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And Yah said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So this is the Father here speaking with the Holy Spirit as well as Christ, and probably the angels were in the midst. That's the reason why it says, let us go down, us plural. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yah did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yah scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So this is where the people's languages were confounded and they were sent to all different parts of the earth. And that's the reason why you get those commonalities between the different religions, societies, and cultures, because they were once one nation with one story in one society of one pagan religion. And once they were scattered, all of those tenets remained, but just were pronounced in different languages in different societies and cultures. Now let's take a look at Abraham here in Genesis chapter 12. Now God said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. So the father's getting him away from all these pagan people. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Verse 4, so Abram, at this time his name was Abram, it was later changed to Abraham. So Abram departed as God had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. So this is really the birth of Israel as well, because this is him separating, and this is when the father, Yah, becomes the God of Abraham, because remember, Abraham had many children and many nations, but the Israelites, the line of promise, come through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Please like this video, and please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Thank you. David Icke also said that there's a lot of similarities between the different religions, with just different names that they're giving to these spirits, these unforeseen entities. And that also speaks to paganism. And for this, let me show the paganism in the Bible in this time. Going to Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. And when thou art come into the land which God give thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. Abominations are the tenets of paganism. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire. That's child sacrifice. Or that useth divination, that's like witchcraft, or an observer of times, that's like astrology, or an enchanter or a witch, or a charmer or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yah. And because of these abominations, thy God doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, thy God hath not suffered thee so to do. So this is the Father saying, everything that all these other people are doing is paganism. All these other religions are all paganism. What these religions do is they have some of the truth and then some paganism. And all religions are made from the hands of man. That's why we follow the tenets of the Bible, which are the covenant that the Father made with the Israelites. And this is why there is that agreement that David Icke talks about between societies, cultures, and religions. And this manipulation that David Icke speaks of by unforeseen spirits or entities is really spiritual warfare. And the warfare is a fight for souls. So it's God versus Satan, angels versus demons. There's a hierarchy of angels and demons, and I'll be explaining that later on in the series, so make sure you watch the other forthcoming videos. And he uses the word manipulate, and he says that only demons are doing it because he's not on the side of Christ. By the way, you guys, if you guys didn't realize that, he's almost trying to discredit him. So he says all these forces are negative forces. That's not true, because this is a battle between God and Satan, good and evil. You could also put in the word, instead of manipulated, you could say guided. Because we are guided by Christ. We are guided by the Father for his will. This whole thing is spiritual warfare and the battle for souls. Decoding with the Bible here, Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So he says the archons called these forces rulers, Remember that, how he said that? And in the Bible, these spirits are just principalities and powers. That's what they are. They are fighting for your eternal soul to either get you to heaven with the Father or take you to hell with Satan. Please like and subscribe. That'll really help me out. Now allow me to show you this spiritual battle of principalities and powers, the fight for souls in Daniel. Okay, in Daniel, we'll start with chapter 9, and let's go down to verse 20 through 22 here. So this is Daniel having a vision. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, you see there, he's confessing the sins of Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Father for the holy mountain of my God. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, that's the angel Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. These forces, some of them are good and some of them are evil. The good forces are Christ and his angels and God the Father. And so this is one of the angels coming to bring skill and understanding to Daniel regarding his vision, because these spirits are fighting for the good. Let me further bring this point home. We're going to continue here in Daniel chapter 10. Let's go down to starting at verse 7. We're going to go through 7 through 14. This is an example of the spiritual warfare. Okay, let's go. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, this is an angel, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. So the Father sent this angel unto Daniel. This is the battle of good and evil. These are these forces, these unforeseen forces. But in this event, Daniel can see this. Then he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. Okay, here's that spiritual battle. Verse 13, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. The prince of the kingdom of Persia here is a demonic spirit that is over a certain land. Just as the Father puts angels over us as people, as individuals, as well as over territories, also Satan does the same thing and mimics the Father. Not only do you have a guardian angel, but Satan has demons that he has said that, hey, your job is to attack this believer. Your job is to attack this person and try to get his soul into hell. Satan mimics what Christ does. So this prince of Persia is a demonic force. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, that's the angel Michael, who is one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the king of Persia. Now I come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. So then he told him what's going to happen to the Israelites because of our sins and whatnot, and what happens to Israel. But so Michael came to help Gabriel, and Michael is an angel sent by the Father to do the will of the Father. What David Icke says is the manipulation by unforeseen forces in our world by these spirits is literally the principalities and powers fighting for our souls. That's God versus Satan and angels against the demons. And the reason why societies, cultures, and religions all have an agreement and share the same basic story is because all religions came from Babylon. And the Father confounded their languages and scattered them to all parts of the earth. Because at that time, they were of one language and they were all following paganism. And that's why the Father told Abraham to leave and that he would become Abraham's God and that Abraham would be the father of many nations as well as the father of the Israelites, that line of promise which goes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to the 12 tribes of Israel. all praises. So in these other cultures, as David Icke was talking about, who are these gods that are being worshiped? And how are they even worshiping these gods? And who's doing all these sacrifices and rituals to and for these entities? Do vibrations and frequencies have anything to do with this battle? And then how can we protect ourselves from this spiritual battle? All of that will be answered here in this next video that you can click right here. See you there.